Is Jim Knowles headed to Norman?
Yeah. Yeah. It's been 4 days since the national championship. And, all these guys talking to OU Sports are saying, we're going to know within 2 or 3 days. And then 2 days passed, and it was like, we're going to know by the weekend.
Yep.
And then it was like, if we don't know by the weekend,
he ain't coming.
And it's, it's 1 o'clock on a Friday, right? So
yeah,
it's starting to get concerning because, it's like, what are the other options now that we've waited for Jim Knowles?
Yeah, literally.
Allegedly.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously, this is all kind of made up by fans, but, I mean, the idea is we're waiting for Jim Knowles.
Yep.
And we don't have him. So if we don't get him, I don't know who's out there, really, to be honest, out in the coaching carousel. So, man.
Well, that's what's interesting is you're seeing all these people post on Twitter saying, I've got insider info. I know who's getting hired in the next 2 days and it's going to shock you. Well, it's Friday, and we still don't know. So that's the thing is, like, before it's like there's not really much of a concern if BV hasn't hired a DC yet because we all think it's Jim Knowles and he's playing in the Natty. But now the fact that Jim Knowles has not been announced yet and it's Friday, now the concern is skyrocketing because then it's like, how have we waited? I mean, I'm coming up on a month now of not having a DC. It's just insane. I don't know what's going to happen. But the thing is, too, is we posted a graphic earlier this week. Jim Knowles' salary at Ohio State was, I believe, $2.97 million.
Yeah, so it was like 2.2, and then he got like $700K for incentives, like winning the national championship, all that. So he ended up getting about $3 million this year, which
our highest paid assistant coach gets paid $1.1 million.
And he's no longer a part of our
fired.
And he's fired.
Got fired.
That's what's up.
It's a little bit concerning because OU always seems to have an issue with money. And I'm just going to be honest, there's no way we match $3 million that Ohio State just paid him. There's no shot. So
yeah, I saw a tweet and it said everyone thinks that OU has a problem with money, but they're just selective. And I was like, I really hope that's true because I
hope so.
With the John Mateer news, that kind of honestly like threw everything off track because it was like, oh, we don't have money, and then we go and pay
them.
Boom,
at ranch,
and we get them. So it's like, do we have money, and are we just waiting for the right? But it's just like, if you're gonna make that guy the highest paid assistant coach in college football, I feel like, he's the guy to do it, dude. Because why not go get the guy who just won the national championship? Yeah. If we can. If he is up for grabs, if he's saying, hey, I already did this, I want to settle, or create a new venture, go on a new adventure, whatever, why not go get him? In my opinion. So, we'll see.
And building on that argument, it's like, if we're selective, maybe Jim Knowles is the best in the business.
Yeah.
But Brandon Venables is kind of the best in the business. Why go spend $3 million on a DC if you can have your head coach be the DC? Yep. And you can spend that money elsewhere, especially now where the university can directly pay athletes. So it's like, and another thing Ohio State did to win a national championship is, and everyone's talking about it right now, the $20 million roster. They shelled out $20 million to their athletes. And so, is spending $3 million on a DC when you have a defensive-minded coach that, has been succeeding. Yeah. Is that worth the $3 million right then and right there? I don't know.
Yeah, well, it makes you wonder, do we need it? Lincoln was calling the offensive plays.
Yeah.
And we were doing just fine. The only issue, though, is that with that, our first year when BV was here, and granted, it was his first year, so you can give him some slack there. The defense was, they were okay. And BV was kind of like heading the defense that time. I think it'll be different this time around now that he's got his guys. But, it makes sense. Why? The real question is, do we have money or are we selective? Because the money that we did have, we gave to John Mateer, but it was $3 million. And reports are saying that was the lowest amount of money offered by other schools. So I think we're down bad on NIL, and we're also selective, which I think if you are low on money, you need to be selective. But I don't know. I think we really need to find out soon.
Yeah.
Really, we need to find out just in general what's happening. Is BV taking over? Are we getting Jim Knowles? Are we not? Mm-hmm. Are we looking for anybody else? And if we are, we should already have ideas of who that is.
Yeah.
Why do we not know anything? That's really strange to me.
Yeah.
And it's really concerning because the portal opens up, I think, in February.
We'll definitely have somebody by then for sure.
Or it's like during spring ball or like into spring ball or something.
Yeah, it's something like early on later, but
maybe like March.
I don't think there's any panic inside the program at all.
Yeah.
I don't think they're concerned.
Clearly not.
Yeah. I don't think there's any panic at all.
Not, yeah.
Well, but another thing is like with the Brent Venables thing, like is him running the defense good enough?
Yeah.
It's like year 1, bad defense. Year 2, decent defense all by himself. Mm-hmm. And then year 3, good defense, but he had Zach Alley. Do you credit Zach Alley for that medium to good jump, or do you recognize the trend of BV getting better each year?
Yeah. And
so that's kind of the question is BV fine on his own? We don't know. We just don't know. But inside the program, I would say they probably do know the answer to that question. And if the answer is yes, he's fine on his own, they have no panic at all. Mm-hmm. And that's what they're pitching to recruits is, hey, we're not in any panic mode. BV's our guy.
Yeah.
So, I don't know. We'll see. We'll just see. Time will tell.
My whole thing is just like BV, if he had proven, and I get it was his first year, but if he had proven, hey, I can coach well, manage the game, do all this stuff, and call plays on defense, cool. Because, I mean, like with Lincoln, like you mentioned, Lincoln was calling offensive players. We also didn't have problems with, calling like stupid timeouts, doing just dumb stuff during the game. But BV, he does that whether or not he has a DC or whether or not
that's the problem.
He is the DC. Yeah. So it's like, I would feel better about having someone else that he could be like, here, do this. I need to focus on this rather than him having to wear 7 different hats and try and manage all this other stuff when he hasn't perfected being a head coach yet.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So I don't know. I would like to see if we don't get Jim Knowles, maybe. I mean, it's a long, but like maybe go like Skowski or something, just to have another guy that's like obviously not Skowski. I don't even know if he's
26 years old. Yeah.
But like just that young guy that you kind of are like, hey, I can see him. Like, I have implemented like so much of my like teachings for him, I think, or into that person. Mm-hmm. I'd be down with that, honestly.
I can agree with that. It's just, I can agree with that. It's just tough because
inside hires are tough.
Honestly, the problem is Brent Venables, whether he has a defensive coordinator or not, does not seem like he can be a CEO.
Yeah.
That's kind of the big issue here is like whether he has never proved once with a great defensive coordinator and with him being the great defensive coordinator, he's never proved that he can make good game time decisions, call timeouts at the right time, and he's never proved that he can get the offense right. Never proved that. Except the only time that happened was under Jeff Lebby. And we still weren't ecstatic with that offense, you know what I mean? Or ecstatic with that defense at the same time. But
well, it's strange because statistically that year we were top 10. Mm-hmm. But if you ask anybody who's an OU fan, it did not feel like a top 10 offense.
And look at the schedule we were playing. I mean, that's the thing. That's another thing.
I mean,
playing that team up against Tennessee on the road, Alabama on the road. No.
Yeah, they're not a top 10 offense.
Yeah, it's not. And the stats were, 8 touchdowns in the game versus West Virginia. It was kind of a...
I mean, that helps.
Yeah. It helps. That helps quite a bit. So, anyways, that's kind of what's going on with Jim Knowles, I suppose. I mean,
we don't know.
We don't know.
We don't know. We're not an insider. We have no idea.
Yeah.
I know you guys are hoping for that. But
and the thing is, too, is anybody who claims they do, they don't either. They don't either. So that's something that...
Yeah. You see a lot.
Oh, I've insider. No, you don't. You absolutely do not.
If I learned anything working with OU football for 3 seasons, it is that nobody outside of 15, 20 people know what's going on.
Yep.
There is like literally a group of 15 to 20 people that know what's going on.
Yeah.
And they control everything. But they don't, they're very, Brent Venables is very secretive. He's very like, and to a fault at sometimes. I don't know if y'all remember the 2023 OU Texas game where it was like, are we going to play Dylan Gabriel or not? And it's like, you don't even need to play that game. He got lit up last week. You don't even need to play that game. So, but anyways, that's Brent Venables. So nobody knows.
So anyway,